Hello everyone, I'm back with my new video on the chapter The Adventures of Toto by Ruskin Bond. This is for class 9 from the book Moments. So this is the text over here that is there in your Moments book. This is chapter 2. I'll read the text and I'll explain alongside. Enjoy the pictures. Imagine this wonderful story by Ruskin Bond. We'll see Toto over here, who is a little monkey, and what all he does. We also get to meet the narrator's grandfather, who is a great animal lover, and whichever animal he likes, he brings it and adds to his private zoo. So let's read the text. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of ₹5. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough, and the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. So there was a Tonga driver and he had a little red monkey, and he used to keep the little monkey tied to the feeding trough. This feeding trough is actually meant for all the animals, the horses, the cattle, for their food, the straw, the dry saw, hay, whatever the food that is given to the animals, it is put in this feeding trough. So the monkey was tied here at one corner. Grandfather, while returning from the market, saw the monkey and liked the monkey's looks, the appearance, and felt that this monkey was out of place where it was tied, so bought the monkey for ₹5 from the Tonga driver. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, grandfather always believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also served as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So here we come to know more about Toto. Toto was a very pretty monkey, a little monkey, red-colored monkey. He was very pretty. He had sparkling eyes beneath his deep-set eyebrows. He had pearly white teeth, which he always used to display in a smile and frighten the Anglo-Indian ladies. Elderly Anglo-Indian ladies, that means the aged ones, and Anglo-Indian is a mixture of a person belonging to both Britain and India. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. The word pickled is used because whenever you must have seen your parents, your grandmother or your mother making pickle, they usually put the pickle, if it is out of a raw mango or lemon, the pieces are cut out of these and dried up in the sun so that no moisture is left in them. So his hands looked as if they were pickled. They were very dry, and the color was also as if they had been pickled specially. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked. They were very naughty fingers, used to move very fast and do the mischievous things very quickly. His tail added to his good looks. He had a long tail, and this tail served as a third hand. It is said that if anything was not in the reach of his hands, his long tail would scoop up any type of thing, any type of delicacy that was needed by the monkey. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. So at home, the narrator's grandmother used to be very angry because grandfather had a habit of bringing in animals. They had a private zoo and there were many animals in the house. Grandmother used to get very angry whenever a new animal came and was added into the private zoo. She was not such an animal lover as grandfather was. So when Toto was brought home, it was uh, kept a secret. Grandmother did not come to know, and grandfather left him tied to uh, a peg into the wall in a closet which was in the narrator's bedroom. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. So when they hid the monkey in the narrator's room, Toto was very naughty. When the grandfather and narrator came back to see what Toto was doing and to release him from that room, they saw Toto had already created a nuisance in the room. He had torn the ornamental paper that was there on the wall. The wallpaper was torn. Narrator's school blazer had been hanging there, which was now in shreds. It had been torn by the monkey, and the peg to which he had been fastened had been wrenched, had been broken up, and Toto had already freed himself. Although he had created this nuisance, and the narrator worried what the grandmother would say, but grandfather was very amused. He was very pleased with Toto's performance. "He's clever," said grandfather. "Given time, I'm sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. His presence in the house still a secret. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarter, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. So after the nuisance that Toto had created in the narrator's room, grandfather seemed very pleased and delighted, very amused. In fact, he said that he was very clever, and if he was given time, he would have made a rope out of the shreds of the blazer that he had torn and would have escaped from the window. His presence was still kept a secret. Toto was now transferred into a big cage in servants' quarter, where a number of grandfather's pets used to live. The pets that he had were a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and also a pet goat. But Toto was very naughty. He disturbed these animals a lot and did not let them sleep. So grandfather, who had to go to Saharanpur to collect his pension, he had to take Toto along. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air, an exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the platform. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. So what happened was, when Toto was taken in this black canvas bag, and when grandfather reached Saharanpur and when he was coming out of the railway station at the turnstile, the ticket collector was standing there to check the ticket. Toto, being naughty, suddenly poked his head out of the bag, out of the little opening that was there, and gave a wide grin to the ticket collector, who was frightened and scared. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You'll have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that a monkey did not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Toto was classified a dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. Then grandfather, just to get his own back, took from his pocket our pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this, since you charge for all animals?" So when the ticket collector got shocked and scared, seeing Toto, he just saw the teeth, and so he thought there was a dog in the bag and argued with grandfather that the grandfather had to pay or take a ticket for the dog too. Grandfather tried to explain that it was a monkey. He took Toto out of the bag and tried to explain and prove that it was just a monkey, it was not a dog. It could not be even called a quadruped or a four-legged animal. But the ticket collector would not agree, and grandfather had to buy a ticket of rupees 3 for Toto. And grandfather got really very angry and annoyed. He in fact took out his pet tortoise from his pocket. He had been carrying the tortoise too to Saharanpur, and asked the ticket collector how much he would pay for the tortoise. Here's a picture which I got when I googled. It is a chain of events. You can see in the first picture, we can see a canvas bag being prepared for Toto and Toto being put into it. Then in the second, we can see how Toto started rolling and jumping, and the bag was jumping, and he became a piece of attraction for everyone in the platform. Then we see the ticket collector asking for the ticket fare from grandfather and arguing in the next picture, and grandfather even took out the tortoise, as we have already read, and asked for the fare of the tortoise. Then is the chain of events, which we will now continue. The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his forefinger, gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look, and said, "No charge, it is not a dog." When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had for a companion the family donkey Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. To his surprise, he found Nana without apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. He had fastened on to her long ears with his sharp little teeth. So now what happened when the ticket collector saw the tortoise, he in fact prodded it. He in fact tried to feel it, touched it with his forefinger, and then gave a pleased and an amused look to the grandfather and said that there was no charge for this animal, as it was not a dog and it was already, being carried over in the pocket of grandfather's coat. Now, when Toto was finally accepted, when he came back to Dehradun and he was accepted by grandmother, one day, no, he was actually a comfortable home was to be found for him, because in the big cage he had disturbed the little animals a lot. So now he was kept with Nana, their family donkey, in his stable. First night, when he was kept at the stable, grandfather went to pay a visit to see if everything was comfortable, and he saw that Nana, without any apparent cause, there was no cause was seen at that time, was trying to uh, move its head. The donkey was trying to move his head from the halter and from the bundle of hay, and it was a very abnormal movement, which grandfather found why he did not know the reason. So grandfather gave him a slap as to why he was trying to move away from the halter. It was later on discovered that Nana was being bit by little Toto in his long ears. That is why he was trying to move his head away. And we can see here a picture of Toto biting Nana's ears, long ears, with his teeth. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was a large bowl of warm water given to him by grandmother for his bath. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, then gradually step into the bath, first one foot and then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. Once comfortable, he would take soap in his hands or rub it in his feet and rub himself all over. When the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feelings would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. One day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. Now, when he was accepted in the family, in the winter evenings, grandmother used to give him a large bowl of warm water, a large tub, in fact, of warm water, in which he would first test the temperature of the water, as we too do, and he had seen the narrator doing. We usually, when we take warm water, we touch with our fingers whether it is all right to take bath with, or we have to cool it down more. So the same thing was done by Toto. He had seen the narrator doing so, and once he sat down, he used to put one feet and then the other feet inside the bowl or the tub that was given to him, and then he would take hold of the soap and rub his whole body with soap. And when the water became cold, he would come out of that cold water and run to the kitchen fire to dry himself. And while doing all this, if anyone saw him and laughed at him, he would feel very hurt. His feelings would get hurt. Once, he nearly got burnt in the kitchen. Let us see how he succeeded in boiling himself. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finally, finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in, with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while, until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time, until grandmother arrived and howled him half boiled out of the kettle. So once grandmother had put a kettle on the gas stove and it was switched on. This was done for making tea. Toto came into the kitchen, saw the water boil, saw the warm water, took off the lid, moved into the pan which had the boiling water, and enjoyed himself. He had his head sticking out of the open kettle. Once the water began to boil, he started hopping up and down. If he tried to come out, he used to feel cold, so he again used to stay in the water. It was after some time when grandmother arrived into the kitchen and took him out of the half-boiled and took him out from the kettle. If there is a part of brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of his aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. So this was also a mischievous attitude of Toto. He liked tearing things, and any of narrator's aunts if came near him, he would try to catch hold of her dress and make a hole in it. So the narrator feels, as written by Ruskin Bond, that if there is a part of brain which is set aside for mischief, then that part was actually largely developed in Toto because he was very, very mischievous. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed, and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through the window. So this was a very funny attitude, but a turning point of Toto's stay in the narrator's house. One day during lunch, pulao was made by grandmother, who left it on the dining table. When she went inside the kitchen and came back after some time, she saw Toto sitting there and eating the pulao. To this she screamed, but he got very angry and he threw a plate that was kept on the dining table. He threw a plate at her. When one of the aunts rushed forward to stop Toto from doing this, she received a glass of water on her face. Grandfather heard all this and came out, but Toto picked up the dish of pulao and jumped out of the window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree. The dish still in his arms, he remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, he had screamed at him, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. So our naughty and mischievous Toto ran out with the dish of pulao and went up and sat on the jackfruit tree. He remained there whole afternoon eating every grain of rice that was there in the dish. After finishing, he wanted to take a revenge with grandmother, who had screamed at him, so he threw the dish down from the tree and broke the dish into 100 pieces, which was very annoying for both grandmother and grandfather. Here again I found a picture for you. In the first picture we see everybody screaming at Toto and he running out with the pulao dish. The whole bowl he had carried to the jackfruit tree, and grandfather kept calling him to bring the dish down, but he did not come down. Whole afternoon he stayed there, and later in the third picture we can see how he threw the bowl and broke it into 100 pieces. And rest will continue. Here is the picture of grandfather holding Toto. Let us see where he was taken. Obviously, Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that. We were not well-to-do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. So we see that Toto had created a lot of nuisance, and this family could not tolerate this more. Even grandfather had realized the same thing, and the narrator says that we were not well to do. Well to do means not very rich, and so they could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, everything he was destroying. He was tearing clothes. He had spoiled the wallpaper, the ornamental wallpaper, which is a decorative paper, and it is very expensive. So the grandfather found the Tonga driver from whom he had bought Toto and sold Toto back at only 3 rupees, for only 3 rupees. So he had bought at 5 and now he sold him back for only 3 rupees. You must have definitely enjoyed all the mischievous activities of Toto. Now let us quickly see the textbook, NCERT textbook question and answers. Number 1. How does Toto come to grandfather's private zoo? The answer is the writer's grandfather liked to collect animals and had made a zoo at home. One day he saw a red-colored monkey tied to a trough with Tonga driver. He liked the monkey and wanted to add it to his collection. He bought Toto from the Tonga driver for a sum of rupees 5. The second question is, Toto was a pretty monkey. In what sense is Toto pretty? The answer is, the writer says that Toto was pretty. He had bright shining eyes, which were full of mischief. His teeth were like pearls. His hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years, yet his fingers were quick and wicked. He had a long tail, which was like a third hand for him. The writer's grandfather felt that a tail added to the beauty of an animal, so Toto was thought to be a pretty animal. Question 3 is, why does grandfather take Toto to Saharanpur and how? Why does the ticket collector insist on calling Toto a dog? The answer is, grandfather took Toto along with himself to Saharanpur because as he was mischievous and it was not safe to leave him alone at home. A bag made of strong canvas material was arranged. Some straw was placed in it. Toto was placed inside the bag and the bag was sealed with the zipper. The ticket collector did not accept grandfather's claim that Toto was not a dog. He called it a dog and charged a ticket fee for it because only dogs were allowed to travel on trains. If Toto had to travel by train, then he would have to be termed as a dog. Now, if you get this question for more marks, then you will have to write each and everything in detail regarding Toto suddenly giving a wide grin to the ticket collector and shocking him, and then the argument between the ticket collector and the grandfather. So this all depends on the weightage of marks. So the length of the answer will change accordingly. Question 4. How does Toto take a bath? Where has he learned to do this? How does Toto almost boil himself alive? The answer is, Toto would check the temperature of the water by inserting his hand in it. Then he would step into the tub 1 foot at a time. Finally, he would sit in it with his face out. Then he would rub soap on his body. When the water became cold, he would jump out and run to the stove in the kitchen to dry himself. He had learned this way of bathing from the writer or the narrator. One day, Toto jumped into the kettle of water kept on the stove for boiling as he found it warm enough for a bath. As the water grew hotter, he thought of coming out, but the cold water made him go back into the kettle. Toto kept on doing this for a while till he was spotted by the grandmother. she pulled him out of the kettle in time, or else he would have boiled himself that day. Question 5 is, why does the author say Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long? The answer is, the author says that Toto was not the kind of pet that they could keep for long because he was extremely mischievous, that is naughty. He destroyed many things. He tore the wallpaper, clothes, curtains. We all have seen the blazer. He broke dishes too. The family could not afford all this and so decided to get rid of Toto. Let us do few extra questions. Question 1. Why did grandfather hide him for some time? The answer is grandmother did not like grandfather's hobby of collecting animals. She was never happy with the arrival of any new animal in the house. Grandfather wanted to avoid this fuss, so he hid him, that is Toto, for some time. The question 2 is, how did Toto behave with Nana? Toto was very naughty. He never got along with other animals, including Nana the donkey. He was found fastening on his long ears with his sharp teeth. He frightened the donkey. Now, if you get this question for more marks, then you will have to write the detail of how he was kept in the stable with Nana, and when grandfather visited that night to see whether Toto was comfortable or not, he saw Nana behaving in an erratic or an abnormal manner. He was trying to move away from the halters. He was trying to move away from the bundle of hay. He got a slap for this abnormal behavior. Later, grandfather discovered that Toto had fastened his teeth on Nana's long ears and was biting him. That was the reason of Nana's abnormal behavior. So if you get a long answer, then you have to increase the limit by adding these points. Next question is, how can you say that Toto was not an ordinary animal? The answer is, Toto was not an ordinary animal. He was very mischievous monkey. He became a headache for the family. He was so naughty that grandfather, who was an animal lover, had to sell it back to the real owner at the loss of rupees 2. Question 4. Why was Toto's presence kept a secret? Where was he kept during this period? How did he behave? What does it tell about the character of grandfather? The answer is, grandmother always fussed whenever a new bird or animal was brought into the house. Grandfather decided that Toto's presence would be kept a secret from her until she was in a good mood. Grandfather kept Toto in author's bedroom in a closet. He completely ruined the closet. He wrenched the peg in the wall, tore the wallpaper, and turned the author's school blazer into shreds. He was transferred to a cage in the servants' quarter. Toto did not allow any of his companions in the big cage, that is a goat, a squirrel, a turtle, and a pair of rabbits, to sleep at night. Later, he was found fastening on his long ears with his sharp teeth onto the ears of the donkey. He frightened the donkey. Grandfather was an animal lover, but he cared for his family too. He did not want to annoy grandmother. That is why he kept this whole thing a secret. Question 5 is, how did Toto behave with others during his pulao eating time? During pulao eating time, a large dish of pulao was kept at the center of the dining room. Toto started stuffing himself with rice. When grandmother screamed after seeing Toto, he threw a plate on her. When one of the narrator's aunts rushed forward, he threw a glass of water on her. After that, when grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and escaped through the window. He was found in the branches of the jackfruit tree, and the dish was still in his arms. He was there for the whole afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, and was determined on finishing every grain of it. After finishing, he threw the dish down the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into pieces. This last thing that he did of breaking the dish was to take revenge from the grandmother who had screamed at him. I hope this video was helpful and you must have understood and enjoyed the chapter. If you come across any queries, please write it in the comment section. If you are a newcomer, please subscribe my channel, press the bell icon for the latest notifications. I have a live session also of the same chapter. Please go through that also. I'll put the link in the description box. We'll meet you in the next video. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.